And so, beloved masters, greetings on this evening. And it is that we want to talk to you about the inner world, the inner connection, and other worlds that the earth has been connected to all along, but they have functioned in a different vibrational frequency. And it has been described as the veils of illusion that have prevented humanity from really experiencing all the things that are going on around them. And now those veils are falling. The Fae have literally taken down the veil between humanity and their world. There are a few places actually in the physical on this planet where you can access the other, but they're very few, very far between, mainly where there are large old growth forests. And of course, as the process goes, more and more of the old growth forests are being cut down. But it is your personal veil, the veils that each human being has created throughout lifetimes, are now being thinned out. It's as though those old illusions are breaking down and they're moving away. And the intuition of humanity is beginning to really increase. More and more people are having intuitive experiences. They're seeing things that they had no idea existed. There are so many of us that walk with humanity. We walk with you in big cities and quiet country places. We mix in the crowds at the mall or at transportation stations. We, you might say, rub elbows with you and feel your energy and love who all that we meet are. Our hearts are open. Our desire to assist humanity is great. It's expanded. It is passionate. And so, as you begin to let go of the limitations that you've been taught, the limitations that logic has encouraged, for the main objective of the logical mind was to minimize the grandeur of humanity, to make them believe they're small, to belittle, to negate, to criticize, to condemn. And so you have been diminished from the grandeur that you were created to be. And now there has been a lot of talk for, I would say, at least the last 50 years, and more as you move toward the year 2000, of becoming more, of knowing yourself. And beloved masters, we've talked about the knowing yourself, and we will probably be talking a lot more about that. But it's the discovery of the magic within you. So if you go to one of these places on the physical planet where the veils are thin and you can step into the other, you will experience what's going on in that particular climate, that particular world. But as you come home to yourself, the world within you begins to open up as it has not been open for at least 50,000 years. And so getting accustomed to feeling yourself inside of your physical form and experiencing your own personal connection to the other. So you don't really have to fly across the world to a very hidden place to find a way to connect with the magical worlds. You are, through that connection with the divine within, opening up more and more now in these times. And you can access, you can experience the connection with the other. But it is, dearly beloved masters, you have this mindset that it's literally going to be like a fairy tale. And cute little beings or funny creatures will be available to you to own them. And dearly beloved masters, as the world is coming apart, it is breaking down, the old order is passing. That desire of humanity to own, to possess, to control is breaking down also. Things are changing dramatically. And you, as you are willing, can experience the magic in yourself, through yourself, seeing not necessarily with your physical orbs, but certainly through the third eye. You will see more and see it differently. It is beautiful. And you will begin to remember how you used your creative energy, and you've forgotten. You've forgotten you could. You have, in many instances, decided that God doesn't want you to know about those things. That in some way, that magic that you love to read about, you dream about, many of you are feeling it more and more as you awaken from the inside out. And so to recognize that what this magic is calling you to recognize within yourself is how much greater, how much stronger, how much more capable you are, how you were created in unconditional love, how you were designed to experience the love of the divine in your heart and in your soul. The physical body has changed. It has adapted. It has gotten larger and it has gotten smaller. But at this point in time, humanity is breaking free of how diminished it has become. And there are many who are really believing that if they can just die and leave the earth, that when they come back, it will be what it used to be. But it won't. What you are experiencing today is another form of war, and there have been wars as long as humanity's remembering goes back. And so to free yourself to use your magic involves learning to trust yourself, because your magic is a God-given gift. Your magic comes from the divine. And it is that in these times, that awakening from within can be so exciting, so astounding, so unique. Some people can't wait to talk about it. And other people are afraid to say anything because they're still caught in that web of illusion of what might happen to you if people find out that you are exactly what you were created to be, a divine co-creator with God, Goddess, all that is. So the logical mind says, all right, tell me what to do. Tell me how to do this. And I would have to say the first secret to be revealed is you cannot do it. So everything's moving faster in that outer world. Everything is getting more technical. People are moving quicker. But it is a time where if you really desire to know who you are, you begin to slow down. Because you will actually begin to feel as you're putting pressure on yourself, trying to get things done, hurrying, looking at the clock, you will begin to feel the tension. Physically, you've felt it across the back of your neck and shoulders or in your solar plexus or any other muscles in your body that you're holding so tight as you're trying to get things done. But now people are beginning to feel that pressure in their brain. More usually in the left brain because that has been the side where you've done most of your thinking. But it is, even the right brain is, as the goddess emerges, beginning to feel the action, feel the stress, feel the tension. Your right and left brain were created to be harmonious, each providing its own part in who you are. But slowly, as you have been diminished, you have been taught that the right brain really isn't all that important. In fact, logic has more or less considered it a little bit like the appendix. Since not as many people are eating raw meat, they don't really need an appendix anymore. So, as you are awakening, you're going to begin to feel more in your brain, your physical brain. And since logic tends to move to worst possible outcomes, I feel strange. I feel kind of dizzy. I feel a little disoriented. I feel out of balance. I feel heavy. I feel tired. And dearly beloved masters, that is truly of your own creation. Because when you have a desire, something that you want to accomplish, and you communicate to the divine, God, Goddess, all that is, whatever deity that you move with in your life, that which you talk to, that which you pray to, as you allow yourself to just speak with the deities and not beg or demand, but ask. For example, goddess, and you may want to call a particular one. If you don't know any of the others, certainly the goddess Gaia is your earth home, and she is always willing to listen. But being conversational with the deities and the logical mind has said, oh, no, 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 no. No, God wouldn't like that. God, goddess, loves you. God and goddess love all that are on this planet. Certainly not because of the things they do, but because of the fact that they are, you might say, the children of creation. So, learning, I can talk to the God, the goddess, not in anguished petition, not in desperate need, not in weeping and wailing and gnashing your teeth, but simply open your heart and speak of who you are and ask for help. Not, I want somebody to get over here and do this for me, because that is pretty much where humanity has gotten. When are they going to do something about what's going on? But you're they. So it isn't about asking God, Goddess, all that is, to do something for you, unless, dearly beloved masters, you are willing to participate. Because the way things are changing, humanity is being called, rather shockingly, to reach deep inside and connect with your strength, connect with your courage, connect with your passion. Forgive the abrasive, corrosive, acidic emotions that cause dis-ease. And think about that word, dis-ease. I'm not easy with myself. So to go within, call spirit to guide you and find out what is making you uneasy. What old habits, old patterns you've held on to and refused to let go, because your magic is waiting for you to free up, for you to open the gate, for you to meet God, Goddess, the deities that you work with, both masculine and feminine, meet that essence in your solar plexus, inside, not in your organs, but in a vast energetic portal that exists in your center that connects literally not only to anywhere you might want to be, but it connects to what you desire to create. So let us say you require some increase in your finances. And what humanity has been taught to do is panic, to start thinking about where can I go and borrow money, knowing that if I borrow money, I'm still going to have to pay it back. But right now, I don't have money. So I want to borrow money. And quite a few humans believe that if I require to have money, I'll just go out and take it from someone else. And dearly beloved masters, when anyone makes the decision to take something away from someone else that doesn't belong to them, people have forgotten that you're setting off, you're activating a divine law. A divine law that says you have been given a divine inheritance. You don't hear much about it, hardly anything anymore. But that divine inheritance provides you with anything that you require and many things that you desire. And it isn't about hard work. It is about, as we say, opening your heart, speaking truthfully so that you hear, feel yourself connecting with the divine within. I desire some increase in my income. Now, the logical mind says, well, set a number because you got to know a number and that's got to be what you get. And set a time. I've got to have this by Monday. But spirit doesn't operate in the same level of vibrational frequency that spiritual essence, creative flow does. Your thinking mind is brilliant. Your intellect is actually neither outer world or inner world. But logic is sought to divide you in half. So everything is about a choice. What are you choosing for your life? And logic worries about making the right choice. But spirit says, as you ask, and you're genuinely trusting, you have faith in what you are asking for. You open the way for divine good to come to you. You feel within your solar plexus when the choices you make are wise, when they are kind, when they are truly, beautifully creative, and you know when they are not. But it isn't about worrying about what God will think, or even more, worrying about what others will think. It is about recognizing deep within yourself, I am so loved that when I ask, the divine hears me. And by divine law, the law of threefold return, as I open my life to share, I activate a law of what I am sharing with others is going to return to me thricefold, at least, maybe more. The less you are concerned about money, the easier it is for it to get to you. But logic has made money the solution for everything. And the magic of these other worlds is their currency may not be money at all. Now, yes, there have been times on the earth when paper and coins were not the coin of the realm, when salt was a commodity that was so rare that it was used for commerce, coal, shells, things that would be important enough that people would pay them to achieve what they desired. But as you get comfortable within yourself, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's certainly happening quicker today than it would have happened, let's say, in 1950. But it still is requiring that you release a lot of things that you believed you could not live without. Releasing the tension of trying to hold on to what you got because it may be the last good you ever get. And the magic, as you say, I require to have an increase in my income. I would like to have more people coming to my business. I would like to have more people knowing that I am where I am, so that we all can prosper together. And so you ask for what you desire, and then in faith, you let it go. It doesn't mean you forget about it. It means that you release that part of your mind that wants to keep track. It's been it's been 24 hours. It's been it's been 3 days. When you understand, and this takes your inner connection to yourself. When you are comfortable with the things you cannot see, faith is an aspect of energy that assures you everything is all right. And if it isn't, it begins to offer you some ideas, some understanding. But it is the more that you get comfortable with the fact that you are loved, you are supported, you will be assisted. So, a little exercise for those of you who are wanting to call people to perhaps take part in your services, to come to your store. If you are an artist, to let them know what your art is about and that you desire to share it with them. And as you get into that feeling of just how wonderful it is to share what I have to offer, we're moving away from sales and all the numbers that go in ledgers and how people hover over them. This is an inner peace, an inner comfort that opens you up to a flow of divine essence that can prosper your life. And truly, so much of life, we say this, you're going to hear it a lot more. So much of your life is not really things that money can buy. So as you ask for the things you require, don't be afraid to ask for the things you desire and feel the sweet comfort within you, almost as though you've eaten a good meal and it's setting very well. I've asked for assistance. I've asked for healing. I've asked for renewed prosperity. I've asked for a home. And home is more than a house. Home is a place where you feel you belong. Home is family. But in these times, more and more people are beginning to find the family that they came into is not the family that helps you to restore your inner alignment, getting confident, getting connected, getting clear about my capabilities to care for myself. Because here again, logic has pulled the energy focus out into the world. But what are you doing for them? You shouldn't think of yourself. You shouldn't be considering yourself. What will God say? What would they say? God would say, it's time to remember we have a loving connection. You may have forgotten over time, but it's time to remember, to feel it deep within. Goddess Mother, in compassion and caring, assist you. If you relax and allow the help to come without the white noise of the ego mind about not being able to do the things that actually will make your life better because someone might not approve. So, beloved masters, a great part of the magic that opens you to these other worlds is called self-approval. It is not somebody is going to do it for you. And this is where there are difficulties because so many people have developed a mindset that if I say I want something, then someone else is supposed to provide it. I pick up the phone, I make a call, I go to the email. Many don't even go to stores anymore, but they make their order. And then, in a way, it's faith, but in more, it's expectation. I expect that my order will be here on the day that I was told it will arrive. But you're not making an order with the divine. You are sharing a desire to make your life better, make it sweeter, even possibly make it easier. But it's because you are willing to change, that you are willing to allow help without shame, without guilt, without embarrassment. The very planets that are surrounding Earth are moving more and more old, hidden, buried secrets to the outer understanding. Things are coming to light. Many people are experiencing strange dreams, odd experiences, memories from their childhood. And these are things, not that you, on top of everything else you've got to do, that you have to worry about those things. They're coming to you so that you can forgive yourself. It's not about others. It's not about them. It's not about them until it is first about you. And the logical mind says, well, that sounds hard. But if you're willing to really participate in your own life, you can have a lot of fun. You can really enjoy yourself. You can experience you in your life instead of you as an observer watching yourself move through life, do things. It requires that you let go of doing, of trying, of making things happen. Simple little words that are so foundational in the vocabulary, even though they may not be in English as I'm going to say them. The equivalent is in virtually every language. So it is to let go of should, ought to, got to, it's hard, I tried, yes, but what if? Because if you are always, and it has in more modern times even become almost like a joke, don't should on yourself. So releasing yourself from the verbal prison that has been created over eons of time, but to let yourself be free. The door to your prison is locked from your side because the divine would never lock you in. But the logical mind has certainly done its best to inhibit humanity, to talk about control, suggesting that you're in control, when the truth of it is often what you think is freedom becomes a prison. So the magic of those worlds is connected to you within the heart, the soul, the third eye, your intuition, your creative passion, your brilliant mind. But long before you used your cranial brain, you thought in the solar plexus so that it was a trine of energy, a trine of heart and soul and the thinking aspect. But they were all, you might say, governed, energized, directed by this blended energy of unity, of oneness, of harmony. And that is where, even in the midst of the crises that are occurring on Earth, people are waking up and the energy is beginning to turn. People are saying, wait a minute, this isn't the life I desire because I cannot sleep well. I cannot enjoy myself when I know that people that I love are being injured, caused to suffer, things are being taken away from them that they require to live. I cannot be comfortable when I know people I don't know are experiencing the things that make their life worthwhile are being taken away. If they are human, they are a lot like you. They may not look like you. Their desires for their life may be very different from yours. And yet they are a part of the dynamic whole that makes up the earth. So, dearly beloved masters, the magic is letting go of every veil, every filter, every denial that separates you from the living, loving awareness that I am a part of something that is so much greater than I have believed I could be a part of. And yet now I am feeling a call to be more. And as you feel connected in love to who you are, willing to praise yourself, willing to compliment your creations, willing to truly admire your capabilities, to feel yourself, not just think about it, but feel yourself. I am a divine creative master, a co-creator with I am. Not I'm looking to find out how I can be above God, goddess, but that I am in the creative essence considered a co-creator. And each being, each soul was created equal with all the others. If you're limited, check out how you see yourself. If you don't have enough, check out where your thoughts are focused. If you can't seem to get ahead, check inside of you and see if you are really willing to get ahead or if you just want to get ahead. Because there is about 180 degrees between the willingness to participate in the powerful positive creation of the amazing life you have been given by the divine, and wanting a good life and wondering, well, where it's going to come from, but not opening the neural pathways, the internal togetherness connections that allow you to experience, to acknowledge, to enjoy being creative. There is a fulfillment within self when you complete a project, a job, and you are satisfied with what you have done. Not that you are making yourself satisfied because you're in a hurry and they want something and you need to get your money, but because you are really satisfied with yourself, satisfied with your workmanship, satisfied with the quality that you would share with another in, beloved masters, the absolute energetic acknowledgement of divine law. Whatever I am putting out into the world, not just physical things, but my love, my caring, my desire to not only share the best with others, but to be open to receiving the best for myself. And it isn't a measure of nada, nada, my better is better than your better. What is your feeling about better, about good? Are you actually intellectually denying your good and spending time making excuses to yourself because you don't have enough? Well, I'm doing without so they can have more. But that's not how spirit works. It isn't about half of us have it and half of us don't. We are seeing that theory exploding on the earth. Only right now, it is, at least as an example, in the United States, 10% of the population have 90% of the good. And that, dearly beloved masters, is activating divine law. Now, divine law is not dropping bombs. Divine law isn't denying the goodness of life to others. But divine law is calling every soul on this ball to get centered, find balance, and experience a deep inner recognition of how fulfilling sharing is. Sharing with others and then allowing 3 times as much as you've shared to return to you. And logic has even said, I don't require thanks. I don't require that you give me anything. But that's as out of balance as, well, you should be giving me anything I ask for. Because equality provides its own, in a way, governing energy. There doesn't have to be someone that tells the collective what they must do, how they can do it, whether they can or cannot do it, who gets the money and who doesn't. Equality says everyone has the right to make choices for their life. It's called free will. And that free will also says you make the final choice for your life. If you are afraid of magic, you will not allow yourself to experience, even though it may be divinely given, you will not allow yourself to experience magic because your mind says it's evil. If you want to be rich, so maybe you're hanging around with rich people hoping some of it will rub off on you, but nothing seems to happen. Because if you don't envision, feel yourself, not because you see it, but because you are willing to allow life to bring you a better good than you have. How will that happen? Well, it isn't necessarily going to be suddenly a stream of people arrives at your door with gifts and they just keep coming. And yet, as you let go of your resistance to allowing the balance of good in your life, as you let that go, beloved masters, your life, the magic of life, will begin to feel as though there is a stream of goodness coming into your life. No one can spend more than they have without having to take something from someone else or work a lot harder. But as you begin to lovingly open your heart to others, and this is not about giving till it hurts. This is not about putting yourself in jeopardy. It is sharing with others. But if you have food and you share it and you bless the food, really bless it, not just saying words or thinking thoughts, but feeling that food blessed. You will find a neighbor says, I decided to make you a casserole, or I baked a pie and I made two and I thought of you. And some way that you could not imagine from sources, and this is a big issue, forgive deciding where your good is supposed to come from. Well, I can't take good from them. They are fill in all the judgmental blanks. And if you're not hungry, you can play that game. But if you're really hungry, it may make you humble. So begin to think humble, not humiliated, but humility. I have plenty, and I can share my plenty. But plenty is a relative experience. One man may be a hunter, and he has a freezer full of meat. That, yes, he said this will provide for my family through the winter. And yet, someone in his community or his village has hard times. And he can definitely share without harming his family. They may have to eat a little less, but it isn't about, I'll starve so you eat. It's about let us share so that everyone can eat. Let us manage our talents. Ah, takes you back to the Bible and the king. And in that time, the money was called talents. Isn't that interesting? And so the king called three of his best men to come and be, they didn't know it, but he did, tested. So he called his head servant and he gave the man 10 talents. And he said, go out and multiply this and bring me the return. And so the man went out and he multiplied his 10 talents into 30 talents. And he returned to the king and gave him the talents. And the king said, well done, good and faithful servant. As you have magnified, so you will be rewarded. Now, that's divine law. But in that parable, it's not put clearly. So as you seek from the love, from the joy, from the faith of yourself to magnify your talents, the gifts that you have in life, as you seek to magnify, and not only benefit yourself, but benefit others, you really get the flow of sharing moving. And everything you give out returns to you magnified. You can't get rid of it fast enough. So the second man came, and the king gave him 5 talents. And he said, go out and multiply these talents. So he went out into the world and he manifested 15 talents, and he returned to the king, gave it to the king, and the king said, well done, good and faithful servant. As you have benefited yourself, it is that as you have benefited, you will also receive. Again, divine law. The third man was a rather poor slave, and the king gave him 1 talent and said, go out and magnify your talent and bring it back to me. But the man was afraid of the king, and so he went out because he didn't have faith in himself and buried his talent. And there were some other men that saw him burying his talent. And so when it came time for him to take the talent back to the king, not only did he not have the talent, because he couldn't find it, but he had to go to the king and say, I have nothing. And it wasn't that one man was given 10 talents and one man was given 5 and one man was given 1. It was what they did with what they were given. Because anyone on this planet, if they are willing to use the God-given tools that they were given in the very beginning when the soul was created, and all souls were created equal. Everyone got the same set of tools: a mind, a heart, imagination, creation, the virtues, ways to establish yourself, ways to feel a delight in your art. Whatever your art is, to become a master at your art. Do you wash dishes? Do you collect garbage? Do you clean the school as a janitor? Are you a CNA in a hospital? Or even in these times, are you a nurse? And it isn't that they are underpaying so much as you change your perspective of you. I'm being paid less because I do a less worthy job. Certainly not easier. But logic says, well, your job as a janitor is far less than a CEO sitting in an ivory tower doing God knows what. So if you diminish your gift, your art, your craft, then you will be treated in the manner actually of what you are putting out into the world. I am less worthy. And as you sow, so shall you reap. So the magic, beloved masters, that yes, you can touch into, you can connect with beings from another world, but it's the energy, how you consider yourself. Because, yes, you may think you're a great person and you may be very impressed with yourself, and you go in with your ego leading the way and wind up being in a fight with some strange group of people that don't do things the way you do, and you are making them feel bad, even though you're taking their hospitality in their world. Or, and this pertains to every soul on this planet, the attitude of gratitude. When you are grateful for what you have and you live it, that magnifies, and gratitude produces more. Where so much of the population now says, well, it's about time you got here with that. It's about time I received whatever this is. And no thanks, no gratitude. And that's what you're putting out. So it isn't to particularly be upset if other people aren't grateful for what you do for them. Look what I did for you. Have you valued what they did for you? Also, sharing is equal. If you have more, you can potentially share more. But if you don't have a great deal and you still have a feeling of love and gratitude and delight in what life brings you, you will begin to recognize, if you're open to notice, that there's more coming to you. So you ask Spirit to increase your prosperity. Don't overlook the fact that if you ask on Saturday and you go into your business on Monday and you have 3 new people that you haven't seen before, or 5 phone calls for orders of whatever you are creating. Don't overlook, beloved masters, the connection between prayer and the arrival of new good in your life. It's not a coincidence, and there are no accidents, beloved masters. You are divine magicians. You simply, over the last 50,000 years, been eased and nudged and moved away from an understanding of how it feels to be equal. It doesn't mean you always get along. It doesn't mean everyone thinks alike, God forbid. But it means that I can respect you and your differences, even if I do not agree with your differences. And if your differences are so disturbing to me that I find myself saying, what can I do about them? Then the first place you start, you go within to your inner temple and you speak to the divine. God, show me, Goddess, help me to be open and honest and truthful in myself so that I move my life in such a way that it makes a difference to everyone. For you are like a beacon, and your light goes out, and other beacons are lighted from your light. And the more you allow yourself to shine, the more magical your life will be. So the other worlds, I can say they are magical. But to really go into detail of describing, you could talk to this woman and she can tell you what she's seen, what she's experienced. You can talk to other people and ask them, have you had magical experiences? More and more people are having them now, but they're not sure they can talk about them. So if you are open-hearted, if you are honest, if you are clear, and you speak of the delight of new experiences and perhaps how your life is actually changing its direction, then, dearly beloved masters, you will begin to reap the benefits. And they may not come in accord to, if I feed someone, 5 people will feed me. Because it really is about what is required. If you feed someone, but then your car breaks down and you don't require food, but you require transportation, then your return, threefold, tenfold, may be people that will help you to get where you're going, or someone that might say, I can help you fix your vehicle. It isn't an equal tally balance. So many people are actually keeping a tally in their mind of, you owe me. And then they call in their markers. You owe me, so this is what I want you to do. But if the person who owes you is a cook and you require a mechanic, then calling in the markers from someone who has no idea what you require is not going to satisfy your obligation or your return. The logical mind thinks in such linear form that living logically in these times is showing up more and more as living your life, looking at life through a knothole in a fence, and believing that all you see through that knothole is what the world is. And yet, if you get off your knees and you walk to the end of the fence and you step around it, there's the magic. There is all the things that you didn't have any idea existed because all you could see through your knothole was a very limited perspective. And in many ways, logic has done that to humanity throughout time until today. So many people believe that their life is very small, and yet if they would step to the end of the fence, they might find the gifts, the rewards, the new understanding, the magic out there on the other side of the fence that held that knothole that gave you such a narrow perspective. So, beloved masters, the other worlds are things that you will connect with as you open. It isn't something someone else can open for you. Because even if someone has a class in opening yourself up, you still have to participate. I took the class, now why isn't anything happening? Because you are required to put into effect what you have learned, what you carry within you. You are required to lovingly, generously participate in your own life, to allow yourself to share, but to allow others to share also. If you love giving, then so do they. But it isn't about expecting everyone to function just alike. And that's where your connection to the inner knowing, know thyself, and the inner magic that opens the portals in the solar plexus. That big portal that opens into other worlds, other ways of being, new levels of awareness and understanding. And as the future is unfolding, it will allow you to understand the way to reach the next dimensional frequency, moving beyond the fourth, beyond the fifth. You've been beyond the third for so long, and yet many people are still living as though they're third dimensional. But the fifth dimension, the first dimension of beginning to realize how I can manifest, is now preparing to open. into a whole new level of awareness and understanding. And every soul on this planet is so loved, no matter what they're doing, because the divine doesn't love you for your works. The divine loves you because you are. So it isn't altogether what you do that makes a difference. It's how you are with what you do, how you share it, and how you allow that cycle of giving and receiving to keep moving. I'm receiving, and it's actually more than I thought it would be, and that allows me to share with others. And the mind may say, well, what you're sharing isn't much, but you don't know how big what you're sharing is to someone else. You may recognize that if you're attempting to get a lot more for what you're giving than you're willing to give, you may have a little tightening in the solar plexus. You may even get a pain in your neck, because sharing is a process of divine law. You share, and it's magnified by the divine, not I give you something and you're supposed to give me 10 times that much. So divine law cares for each and every one. Divine law loves you no matter what. So when you say to yourself, how can they do those things? Because they have diminished themselves. They have denied what they're looking for, and they believe that they will get what they think they've been denied by harming others. Revenge. The divine law of return works the same way with negative as it does positive, beloved masters, equal. So if you're putting out painful, destructive, limiting energies, they are accumulating in your account, and they are less and less. So all that you have may seem to be never enough. Where if you're sharing, there's always plenty, because even enough is never enough, and not enough is starvation. But when you have plenty, plenty of joy, plenty of love, plenty of caring, plenty of camaraderie, plenty of one of the greatest requirements the planet has, belonging. I belong. And you can only belong if you let yourself. Because others may want you to belong. But if you're refusing, it's not about them. It's not about them. It's not about them. So the magic of the other worlds that you can discover inside of yourself, and those worlds can share with you. God's love, Goddess love, can share with you. Humanity can share with you. But you don't get to decide who's going to share with you and who isn't. And it's a lot kinder if you don't believe you must decide whether you can take something from another person because they're different. There's 8 billion different people on Earth, and every one of them, no matter what their condition, no matter their placement in society, no matter what country they live in, no matter what color their skin, even, dearly beloved masters, no matter how they act, they're still divine creative masters. And it's personal choice how they are using that divine gift. It rewards or it diminishes. So consider the choices you're making when you treat other people, and then pay attention. Are you being treated well? Or are you receiving in return what you are holding out from others? Are your limits in giving coloring the limits of what life gives you? As you give, you receive. As you sow, so shall you reap. What you are willing to share of yourself is magnified back to you. And it makes you feel more. And beloved masters, to remember in the greatest of love, no matter where you are or how life feels, there's always more. In the greatest of love, we share with you. Will you accept it? That's up to you. We're not going to say, well, if you don't take it, we'll take it back, because we know that if we take that attitude, it can minimize what we receive. We're not giving to receive, but we do understand that as we share with an open heart, the things we require return to us with an open heart. In love, I bid you adieu.